What's up, everyone? So I thought I'd put up this video just to give any tips or just some info for any new guy looking at starting out racing this year. Just from someone who started off last year racing and some of the troubles I ran into. Parts that you might need, I'll give you some tips on that. Just some upgrade parts. I'm not going to give you setup tips because I'm still learning there. And if you're a pro out there, this video is really not for you. What you can do is maybe write down in the comments down below any tips that you might have. Just stuff that maybe I haven't included in this video because I probably end up missing something. But just any info that you can add. I got this idea yesterday when I sold a carb to somebody, and the guy was telling me that he was looking at starting out racing. And I thought, you know what? My first race, I wanted to race badly, but just showing up at the track because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to expect, and I never raced 1/8 or 1/10 scale, so racing for me in the hobby was brand new. So, just to give any tips that I can and help out any new guy, because the more people at a track racing, the better the racing day will be, right? So I'll start off with just some upgrade parts, and I would probably start off with something like skid plates. Now, I don't recommend you go out and buying something expensive here. I've seen some pretty expensive parts out there, and these are decent price, the full force ones, but I definitely recommend the brand new ones from Bartolone. I don't have those in there, but I have ordered them in. Now, these aren't damaged or anything like that, but you know me, I'm a sucker for just brand new parts. And the reason I wouldn't spend big bucks on this is because this is going to get beat up pretty badly. And really it's just to protect your diff case, the bottom, the exposed part at the bottom of the chassis. And you can spend big bucks on this, but after your first race this is going to get beat up pretty badly. So just do not go out and buy a big expensive part for that. Another part I would add is probably some chassis braces. This is the Ddm Chassis Brace. I don't think you can buy these anymore because I don't see them. I see them out of stock in all the 5th scale stores. I probably do not recommend this part, only because I recently got in I have it in all this mess here. My Losi 5ive-T is completely disassembled and it's somewhere in all these parts. But I recently got the Turtle Racing version of these chassis braces, and I really like the way those look. They look a lot more beefier than this. And this one is bent from my crash into that flower pot. And I tried bending it back, but once this is bent, you know what, it's weakened already, so I ain't going to be using this anymore. Another part you might want to add is the Ddm Chassis Brace or any part like that. There's a lot of companies now making these. Definitely recommend something like that, better than the plastic. Adds much more stiffness to your Losi 5ive-T. Another part you might want to add is definitely the outerwear's air filter. I don't recommend you get the pull start one. Only if you add on the engine the one that covers your engine. But even then, you know what? That's not going to properly cool your truck. I don't really like it, especially running at RC acres. That filter gets clogged up pretty bad. So you don't want to block out any airflow going into the engine there. That way your engine gets cooled properly. And if you only run the pull start one, I think that's a bad idea. That's what I did. All that's going to do is going to clog up your pull start and make it hard to start. And it'll probably, when you pull out your pull start, is probably going to get jammed because it's covered in the dirt in RC acres is like a clay type of dirt, and it gets really packed in there. So I don't recommend that. I prefer just running it without it. This is for racing tips and not for bashing. For bashing, you know what, that's a completely different story. This is really for racing. And I've been told not to track, just to don't even bother with that. And I would just use the air filter. I have it somewhere in here, just to add a little bit of protection to your air filter. Something else that you might want to add is cage guards. And really that's not needed, but what it will help is definitely keep out dirt and mud from kicking into your Losi 5ive-T. The first time I raced, it was a big, huge mess cleaning out that Losi 5ive-T. And for my second race, I had the GFR Rockwells. And the noticeable difference in running those and how clean it was compared to the first time. You're still going to get mud in there, but the difference is huge, and you won't have as much, because cleaning out your Losi 5ive-T when you've got a lot of mud caked in there is really a pain to clean out. So I definitely recommend. Or you know what? You don't even have to spend money on something like the GFR Rockwells, or maybe I think Barlow makes them as well. And I think Barlow ones are actually cheaper, which is probably the way to go. I think a YouTube guy made his own using leather spats or something like that. You know what? You can stick anything in there and it'll work. A bit of thick plastic or anything like that, just anything that will fit into that area to cover it up. Because if you notice in that cage, there's actually holes from that you can actually put screws in there, and you can cut any plastic, or even if you want a bit of metal or anything, just to block off the wheel wells or the side panel of your Losi 5ive-T. It'll definitely help in keeping dirt and stuff out of there. Let's just see here. I've got the list of stuff that you might need. And you know what? You might also want to add some CV protectors. There's a bunch out there, just to protect your CVs from any rocks and stuff like that. I know at RC Acres there's really not many of that rocks out there. There are a couple, but I don't know if it's really a needed thing for racing, but just add a little bit of protection from rocks and stuff hitting your CVs, but it's definitely not needed. Other than that, that's really the basic stuff that you can need. Engine-wise and stuff like that, I'm not going to talk about that. Just stuff that you might want to upgrade just before you start racing. You might need maybe a steering, I think the Ddm Chassis steering arm or something like that. You might want to add something like that. I don't know how good the original the Losi 5ive-T one is, but I think you'll be okay. And on to parts that you probably should have a spare in your kit when you go racing. I definitely recommend, because I broke one of my rear A-arm, I recommend you take your front and the back, a set of those, just in case you break one, because I know I broke one. And at RC Acres there is a hobby shop there that brings a trailer full of parts, but if you buy them, it's much cheaper just to buy them somewhere else, like TGN. They sell them really cheap and good price. I know I bought mine from there, an extra set, just in case it breaks. Because when you break an A-arm, your day is done. And unless someone there lends you one or sells you one, and yeah, I know at the hobby shop there, you're going to pay full retail. Just remember that. So it's best to have an extra set. And you know, with any kit in this hobby that you use, you're going to break an A-arm no matter what. So it's just good that eventually you're probably going to use it. If it doesn't happen in racing, well, it'll happen in bashing. So it's best to have it when you're racing. Another thing you might want to add to your kit is possibly an extra air filter. And just in case somehow this falls off and gets dirt, it's much easier just to have one that's already oiled up and ready to go. You just pull it off, and hopefully you didn't get dirt in your engine if it fell off and it was racing, but just like that you get a nice clean one and you have one spare just in case. Another thing you might want to add, if you're running the original, the stock Losi servos or any servo, is possibly have an extra servo just in case for steering. I never ran into that problem, but I've seen a lot of guys at the track having their servo burn out. Now that's a pricey item, but it's possible that you might burn out that stock servo. I know a lot of people burn those things out, and racing really kills those servos, because you're going all out when you're racing, and that servo definitely takes a beating. So I know it's an expensive part, and I'm stuck because I'm using the high-tech one over here, and I ain't gonna buy an extra one of these because these are $500. Just remember that. So if this burns out or anything like that at the track, well, that's it for me. My day is done until I get a replacement one of these. Hopefully it's still under warranty if it ever breaks. But, so it's not necessary, but just in case. An extra spark plug will be good to have on hand just in case you need one, and possibly a screw set. You never know when you're going to lose a screw, and it's good to have one of those screw kits. I think there's a couple out there. I have a full set. I bought like either the 20 screws one I think I bought, and I have one of those, and every time I lose a screw or something like that, I have one there, and it's in the kit. I think Losi makes one with possibly all the screws that you might lose, and it's good to have something like that, and it's a much cheaper option, but it's good to have an extra screw set. And that's pretty much it. That's the stuff I ran into, is basically just a broken AR. Oh, wait a second. I'm forgetting one very important part here that you're definitely, and I really stress that you're going to need this. And that is, let's see if I can find it like this here. That is an extra pull start. Now my first race, my pull start broke, and you don't know how many guys break their pull start when they're racing. You know, I think one of the marshals broke my finished braking when my pull start. And I know a lot of guys, when the marshals try starting your engines up, they're going to be yanking just to get you going again, right? But if it breaks, your day is pretty much done unless you have a spare or someone's going to lend you one. But it's good to have an extra one. Now I got the Turtle racing one over here, and as you can see, it's not in one piece. My spring, the coil spring, got damaged, so I'm waiting for parts just to rebuild this. I don't know how it got damaged, but it broke. But if you do get the Turtle one, it's a great pull start, but just remember, it needs maintenance. It's not like, well, the other ones need maintenance as well, but this one definitely needs a lot of maintenance. So just remember that. It's a nice pull start, but you definitely want to keep it maintained. And if that one breaks at the track, I do have an extra stock one for my RC&K over here, just in case, because it's not happening again to me. I know my pull start broke in my second moto, and I could not go into Moto 2 because my pull start was done. So just remember that. Pull start is very important to have, because there's no other way to start your engine if you don't have that pull start. And on to, I talked about the screw kit last, and what you should do is remember when you fix your or repair your Losi 5ive-T, is remember to Loctite your screws. I lost so many screws in my kit because I did not Loctite them in my first race. That dual servo kit has a lot of screws that go up along the top of the dual mount for the servos, and I did not Loctite those. I Loctite the ones on the bottom, but I forgot to Loctite the ones on the top, and I lost a bunch of those when I started racing. I also lost one for my, linkage for one of the servos. I lost one of those because I didn't Loctite that. So just remember, Loctite everything metal to metal so that you do not lose any of your screws, or you don't lose any part on your Losi 5ive-T. On to tools and stuff like that. I recommend, you know what, bring everything, and I mean every tool that you need to fix that Losi 5ive-T. Because for my race, I needed, I think it was an 8 or 10 millimeter wrench, and I brought everything with me but those two. And you need every tool, because I thought, you know what, I'm not going to need that, and I did not bring it. What I forgot though, I just realized that I actually forgot that the stock, that the Losi comes with their own wrenches, and I could have used that, but I forgot that was in the kit. So just remember to bring all your tools that you're going to need. You know, just get a good toolbox and just take all the tools that you're going to need. And another tool that's you might not even think of, because I never thought about it, is bring a hammer. And the reason why you're going to need a hammer is for something like this. For my first race, my 8-arm got damaged. So what happened was, this is the Hinge Pin Brace, I think it is. Well, actually this is the toe block. Well, you know the Hinge Pin Brace, I don't know, it's somewhere in this mess here. This got bent, and I did not have a spare one of these, and I didn't know how to fix it. So someone told me, you know what, hammer it and get it into shape. Well, I didn't have a hammer, so I had to borrow one. So bring a hammer for just in case you need to hammer something in place. You know what, it's a quick repair, and I just put it up against the rock and hammered it nice and straight, and you know what, it worked. So bring a hammer just in case you need to bang a piece into place, because it's much easier just to make a quick repair like that rather than just buying a new part, because you know what, it worked. Just remember that. You might want to do that. Also, what you're going to bring is all your lube, just in case, maybe a can of WD-40 or graphite or grease, whatever you're going to need just in case. It's not really necessary, and I've never used it at the track, but you never know when you're going to need something like that. Just remember that. Also, don't forget your charger just in case, but make sure when you go to the track you have all your batteries charged. You know what, that's common sense. Don't forget that, and don't forget your fuel as well. On to gear. I recommend, you know what, my first race when I got there, I didn't know what the area looked like, and I'll tell you this, at RC Acres there's no place where there's shade, and I definitely recommend you do, if you're serious about racing. If you're gonna show up once in a while, you know what, you're not gonna need this, but I definitely recommend you maybe invest in a canopy, one of those shade canopies you usually see at events and stuff like that. They're not that expensive. I think I've seen them for as low as $50 online. You know what, you might want to invest in something like that, because I know the day I showed up, it was a hot day, it was bright and sunny. All I had to do, there's a bit of an area where you're against the trees where I parked the car, and I just backed up the car there, and the trees provide a little bit of shade. But another day it started raining, and I brought in my canopy for my second race or something like that, and it definitely will help you. When you need to fix your truck and in the rain, that's not a good situation. So bring some sort of a shelter, and it will definitely keep you dry and away from the sun. But I would recommend you invest in something like that. Also, don't forget your table. I brought in a table, just one of those foldable ones. Those are really cheap, and it's definitely a cheap way to go to put your Losi on a table, and just put it up on a box or something like that. Another way to go, if you don't want to go with a table, is the rigid stand. That's what I'm using this here. That's a great way to go if you want to do that. I've also seen guys use piano stands, and that's also a good option as well if you want to go on the cheap. I think I've seen piano stands as cheap as $20 at Best Buy. Yeah, Best Buy would have piano stands and stuff like that. That's definitely a cheap way to go. The rigid stand I know in the US is like $30, but here in Canada the cheapest I've seen is like 50-something dollars. I was able to get it on sale for $30 last year or something like that. When you see it at that price, I would get it. Now for mine, the top of the rigid stand is not the best for the Losi 5ive-T unless you do something to keep it in place. What I did is I bought the threshold top plate for it. It's not a cheap part, but it's a beautiful piece, and it'll allow you to fix your Losi 5ive-T on it and tilt it back and forth, which is great, and access to all the bolts, which is another plus as well. Another thing, if you've got a portable air compressor at RC Acres, there are jacks where you can, electrical outlets where you can plug it in. That's another thing. If you've got one of those, a little portable one, it's probably best to have. I don't take that to the track because I'll just borrow somebody's, but it's good to just blow off all the dust and stuff like that, just to keep it nice and clean for your next race or the next moto. Other than that, that's pretty much it. You know what? If you're thinking about going racing, you know what? I would do it. It's the greatest thing to do. If you're, you know what? Once you race, you're not going to want to bash, because racing is the best thing to do, especially with the Losi 5ive-T. You know what? If you're going to need the guys there at the track, if you need help, they'll come up to you and help. You know what? And if you see me, just come ask me if you're brand new at RC Acres or anything like that, because I'll help you out as much as I can, because I am new to this racing. As I said before, I've been in 3 races and I learned quite a bit, and come over to me and I'll help you out if anything that you might need. And that's about it. So I hope to see you guys racing over at RC Acres. So if you see me, come say hi. I'm pretty friendly and I'll help you out. Alright guys, as always, don't forget to like my video, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe. Alright guys, take care.